Alright, have been working on it, just not making videos, but we got the car on the ground. We remade those rear mounts, so our subframe has 3 points of contact, much like the safety of a ladder. It's got the 1 point there, the one vertical, which is a long tube, and then one at the back to kind of triangulate to the 3 points of contact on it. So it should be quite robust and kind of strengthen up any sort of chassis looseness that would be, because we've cut out a lot of stuff and had to raise the subframe and fuel tanks farther back, and it should be a-okay now. Well, time will tell. But yeah, we got on the ground. I bought one of these little laser levels, and just so I can make sure that my fender lines, I don't get the front ones higher up than the rear, just because it looks a lot better is pretty much the only reason why I want to keep the rear fender arch the same or higher, because we're running a bigger tire in the rear. And actually the outside diameter is the same. That's only like a 1/4 inch smaller than the 295/50s. But yeah, so we got that. We're gonna have to raise the car up a little bit, so we're probably gonna have to go an inch up in the back, and then we're probably gonna go another inch in the front. We may even go 2 inches up and then 1 inch there, because right now the wheel is hitting the fender, and we've got about an inch of clearance between the top of the wheel and where the fender arch on the inside is. This seam or that seam there on the inside, which about an inch and a half. I mean, it's not criminally bad. Some would kind of scoff at that not being enough travel, but this isn't a Baja car. I've had cars with less, and yeah, it's, you choose your driving style, and the stiffness of the shocks and stuff definitely helps with that. But yeah, we'll go up a little bit. Finally got proper wheel nuts. I've been just mashing on these tuner lugs, so I'm really quite happy to get rid of these fucking things where I gotta find lugs or the wheel nut key for it and all that shit, and it'll eventually break because I'm using an impact to just ring it up. But yeah, so we're gonna do that, and then we might even cut this arch, because we can actually go up a full inch, because about an inch, because with the laser level our arch is just a little bit lower, so we can go up a little bit, and that's why I brought this one down. And what we're gonna do with this is we're probably just gonna slice it here, probably to that line. We can even use the laser again, and then we'll slice it probably right about here, right on that kind of fender crease, and do the same thing on the bottom side, and then we'll just put it on there, and then as we need, cut more of the top and see how it looks. Kind of like what we did here, where we just kind of cut out the old arch, got another fender, and then lifted it up. So it went up from, I mean, normally this little hump would be lined up with the door. So we're about, 4 or 5 inches of difference of the fender arch being raised up. Because if you actually look at third gen Camaros, they're very weird on how the rear arch, how low it is, and how high up the car is, and deceptively high this car looks like. Because if you actually look at the front end of this car, I mean, you can see loads of clearance, but this is very, very low for a Camaro, especially like a Berlinetta. I mean, you'd probably have close to probably like that height of the cart for ground clearance. So it's just the nature of these cars. They got a lot of stuff hanging underneath. A really low rear floor pan, kind of where the passenger sits, and very, very low front suspension and oil pan stuff stock. It's just how the car's built. The exhaust, I mean, they tee into one, and then it just hangs underneath the floorboards and goes to the back. I think the cat is like right there, where most cars, I mean, it's tucked up in the trans tunnel and then back, but these aren't, so they make it so it doesn't fucking rub on everything by just raising the car up. But yeah, we'll carry on, come along for the ride. We've got our wheel nuts, so we can easily bring this thing up and down. And yeah, we're gonna go up an inch in the back, up an inch in the front, actually an inch and a half in the rear, and then up an inch in the front. See what it is for our clearance, and then we'll cut that arch out, put it in, use a little laser and see how it is. But yeah, come along for the ride. All right, so we got our wheels off on the rear here. You can see the coilovers and exhaust and all that shenanigans. Here's our next problem: is these are about 7 3/4 inches from thread to end, and it's looking like we're kind of maxing that out. Now, the easy workaround of this is I just slice the tube below the thread point. We go to the lathe, we get a tube that sleeves over this, and then we just lathe it in so it's flat to each other, and then we just weld it up and be careful of the bushing down below so we don't melt it. But yeah, it'll just kind of be a friction fit with a little bit of tacking and welding, and should be a-okay. But yeah, just kind of one of the shenanigans we're running into on this, but nevertheless we'll persevere and get over it. So yeah, let's put our wheels on, lower the car, get it off the jack stands, and we'll go to the front and we'll do the same. But yeah, just so we can kind of see now with the laser level how I can go down on the front arch, or go up on the front arch to level this out. So we have quite a bit of room to play with. Just figured I'd turn the lights off. You can see the laser in action. So I think next step might be to cut these fenders and or cut these ones, I should say, and then overlap them and see how it's gonna look. Because I don't really want the car to go any lower, and it won't. The fenders aren't bolted, so they just kind of kick up out of the way. But we'll see at this ride height how well it looks. Now, we do have a bit of a gap there, but honestly, I don't think it's that criminal of a wheel gap, to be honest with you. I mean, it is. We are dealing with about that much, but I don't know. I feel like in the more circle track looking car with these big old fucking knobby dirt tires, that it's actually not that bad. I mean, the JDM world is, I mean, 2, 1 finger, and that's where it's cool, as tight as possible. But you know what? I'm not uncontent with it. So I mean, yeah, JDM world in the front, and then stock car in the back. But I mean, that can always go lower. That can always be adjusted. I mean, we could find an even bigger tire to throw in there. Although the car would go up a little bit, but I mean, it's an option. So yeah. Let's go on with the cutting of the rear arches. Yeah, come along. All right, so you got the laser on it. It's not happy because it's such a forward tilt, but the left and right level is correct. It's just not happy. That's why it's flashing. But yeah, you can kind of see what we're doing here. Is we've got our line to our rear fender to the front fender here, and we're gonna go up 2 inches. So 1, 2. Sorry, 1, 2. We have our marks. We use a tape measure. We're not just using a piece of 1-inch flat stock. But yeah, and then we're going from our little body seam line up 2 inches, which is right around that gold stripe, which will be fucking gone once we blast weld to it. Just kind of disappointing. It's kind of neat. But yeah, so we're going to cut there. We're not going to cut all the way back because a little bit of overlap is okay in this part of it. We know we can always just tack it on, then slice it, and then just weld where the cut line is, as we'll have a perfect fit up pretty much at that point. But yeah, we're going to cut up here. Well, cut right on the fender line. We're going to go up to about probably right around here. And then, yeah, down that way. And then we're going to overlay our piece here. And then we'll see how it looks. I mean, worst case, I got to go find another Camaro fender. But we're taking like $100 gamble here, because there's a driver's side front fender on Marketplace for $100 in good shape. And that's why we're starting on this side, because it's the one we have for sale. If you only had a passenger side, then we'd be starting on that side. But I think we're going in the right direction to get some more clearance out of this wheel well area. I mean, the car looks so high off the ground, but We'll have the option to go lower now, but still humming and hawing. That wheel's also going to come out a little bit because of the brake setup. We're going to have another inch of poke out. Whether we change the rims, I mean, these are like $100 wheels. They're new, but they're still a steel wheel. Just to clear the whatever Lexus SUV caliper we have with the adapter brackets, because the steel wheel is so thin, it will make contact with the caliper. So yeah, we got to space it out. Being a 4-piston caliper, it's a lot thicker than like a floating sliding caliper. I mean, the rear, we just got a 1/4-inch spacer, and I'm thinking about getting some spacers and having them actually professionally milled out to run the 5/8 studs, so that everything can be lug centric like it's supposed to be. Because these have the massive center bore, and if you balance these on the center bore of these wheels, it will be out of balance. It has to be lug centric, or lug, I guess, balanced. So you're kind of required to get the bigger studs. So that's kind of where I'm going with it. I mean, we could always look into getting a different 15 and putting it on there, like an aluminum wheel that's meant for the 12 mil stud. The taper's still the same. I think they're both still the same 60 degree. But yeah, it just wants that 1/8 stud. And I mean, if you have the 5/8 studs, I mean, there's a small amount of people that know it's serious business car stuff. But yeah, let's carry on recklessly and see where we end up. So yeah, come along as I fuck this fender up potentially. All right, so we got the car, we got the fender. It's old one's being cut up. It's there with a little gold trim on it, and we got the new one loosely in place. It's just got a little bolt kind of holding the weight. I think on the back I went up about 4 inches, and the front we're going up 2 inches, and they're level. So I mean, you can kind of tell that there's a bit of a 2-inch difference on these cars between the old fender line and what we have now. Obviously it'll look different when the whole car is one color, but I get a bit of Baja buggy fucking feelings from this wheel tire offset, and it's just been fucking burning a hole in my fucking head here. The amount I've been kind of overthinking it. I think it's because it looks artificially higher than it is. I mean, we are really quite low to the ground. I mean, we're right at, dick height into interior, and I went out, and my Toyota Crown, I mean, is belly button height, and that's even in a lowered car. But this does give us the option, one, to go down a little bit. I mean, even an inch may make it look a little bit nicer, or we kind of rethink our wheel and tire sizing. If I went back to went to a 17, then I've got RX-8 wheels. I've got all sorts of stuff I can just kind of bolt on, and there's a lot of just 3-piece, 2-piece wheels that you can just kind of make work. Just get a barrel on a lip or find something that'll work. The front's not so weird. I think it's a 15x9 with 4 inches of back spacing, so that's relatively easy. And I think the back is 15x10 with 2 inches back. No, that was that one. Whatever. I have to go look at my Summit order. But they're very generic in their bolt patterns. So I think what we're going to do now is put our lines on the fender, make our cut line, and then we'll bolt this shit together. Tack it together. And then maybe do the other side, and we'll just kind of hum and haw a little bit. Maybe bring it down to its lowest height, and do that on both sides, and see how I re-evaluate this. Because I think I probably only need to get away with about an inch of suspension travel on this. That's all I've had on the Crown. That's all I've had on the Datsun. It's all I have on the really most of my cars, because they're just running a stiffer shock and spring setup, so you don't need that Baja buggy level of travel. We'll go look at the Datsun, we'll go see where that is. I went and looked at the Datsun, and it's got about that much wheel gap, and I'm okay with that. So maybe we'll keep it around that diameter and rethink our wheel and tire package to get the desired look. I mean, it's not end of the world. Tires can be sold, wheels can be sold. So small hit, but I mean, I bought them like 3-4 years ago. So yeah, that's if we go down with it. We may still just go down an inch because we've got about 2.25, I think, there of room. But I'm just gonna keep repeating myself on fucking ride height if I just don't start fucking doing things. But yeah, we'll measure things out. We'll get her a little more trimmed up on that top corner, and then yeah, go from there. So yeah, come along for the ride. Alrighty, we got our laser level here lined up. Our fender lines are within each other. Yeah, I mean, that is basically our clearance for suspension travel, which, I mean, it's not actually too bad. As it will go up a little bit as it goes in, but the tire seam beside that is my spare tire that I had on the V10 Capri. It was the ERS or ERW. I keep wanting to say ERW because it's electronically resisted welding, so it's the thin wall steel tube. It's called ERW, but nevertheless, that is the tire size, and it's a little bit smaller, and the overall outside diameter is about half an inch smaller, and it I mean, has more room for wheel or rim, however you want to call it, and that would let us go down another little bit, and I think get rid of this. Again, I'm just rambling on and on and on and on again and again and again about fitment and ride height, and it's getting a little taxing for me. I can only imagine how taxing it is for the people around me. But yeah, I think I might. I went to go look for the wheels, but I actually left them at my house. And I think honestly the rears might be close to what the front is, because they were a 17x10 with, I don't know, a few inches of back spacing, so it's pretty much on point to what this is going to be. And I mean, if I can run a square 275, 45 or 40, I can't remember what they were on the whole thing. I mean, that's a pretty aggressive fucking handling car, because that's a lot of grip. And I mean, also when I say, you know, aggressive handling car, I mean, if I go around a corner and I feel a lot of movement, you know, forces sliding me in the seat, I go, ooh, that's fast. So I'm not really looking here to break fucking records. So but yeah, we might go get those wheels and bring them here and for a real good look at things. But for right now, I'm pretty happy. I'm not gonna fuck the other fender up. As I mentioned earlier, there's a guy selling a driver's side one, so worst case, I just got to go buy that instead of having to buy two. But we can hopefully kind of use that one for a bit of mock-up on the other side. I probably should have made a template, or at least traced this on the other fender of the one upstairs. Yeah. But yeah, I think we're going to get our other wheels I have, and then we'll see how it is, because it also fixes the issue with needing the 5/8 studs. Although the 5/8 stud thing was kind of an allure to me, because I like the look of the giant fucking IMSA, just regular circle track wheel nuts. But yeah, before I ramble on too much, benefits of the 17s is stock RX-8 front brakes, Project Mu pads, and we got a hell of a braking car. I don't need to run the adapter plates that I made for the Lexus ones. I don't need to run the smaller rotor. I can even get the Shinka, or whatever it is, 6-speed manual brakes, which are the larger ones than the auto lower trim models of the RX-8s. And I mean, we're going to be heavier than an RX-8, I hope. I mean, I hope an RX-8 isn't this heavy with the V10, and God knows what I've added to the back in weight. Could be a fuck ton, could be a little. Yeah, it also lets us run an aluminum wheel too, which, I mean, those wheels are fucking heavy. And Yeah, there's a lot more options for tire width and smaller profiles than there is in the 15 world. If you want to just run like a actual non-DOT race tire, I mean, you've got lots of options for tires. But me driving on the street and not ever really gonna honestly race this car, other than give it the beans at a stoplight, I'll be fine with maybe just running 17s. Yeah, that's probably it for today for me. But put your comments, concerns down below, and I definitely will read them and get back to you. So yeah, smell you later.